Welcome to Moto Mouths, the podcast for MotoGP, motorsports, and more. I'm your host, Zoe, and welcome to episode 29. I'm feeling 29? 29?
I'm feeling 28, just in case anyone was wondering.
I did have a birthday. Thank you for asking.
You sure did.
Where I turned 29?
What did you do for your birthday? Did you have a fun time?
I went to Margaritaville, and not gonna lie, it was kind of a bummer.
Oh.
It was not a good time at Margaritaville.
You weren't living La Vida Loca?
So maybe it was because we went on a Tuesday.
That maybe had something to do with it.
But they didn't play the song Margaritaville once.
That feels wrong.
Right?
I don't like that.
The drinks were good. The food was fine, mediocre. Wasn't expecting the food to be great, but I was told there was going to be like singing and chants and like Jimmy Buffett songs, and it was going to be a whole thing, and it wasn't.
Feels like a big lie.
It did. It was kind of halfway through the meal, I was like, wow, this really sucks. I mean, I'm having a great time with my friends. We're having a fun time. We're laughing. We're drinking.
Right.
The drinks.
The whole point with that stuff is we bring the vibe, but I feel like we shouldn't bring the vibe to Margaritaville.
Right. I feel like there should be some embedded vibe.
Established vibe. Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I hope you had a good birthday otherwise. It looks like fun.
I did. I went to the Museum of Art and Design. There was a Jonathan Adler exhibition on.
Oh, my goodness.
I am now the biggest Jonathan Adler fan in the world.
I feel like that's just what happens when you see his stuff.
Well, I didn't know he started out as a ceramicist and a potter.
And you're doing pottery right now.
And I'm doing pottery right now. And so I was walking around with my best friend Kelly, and she's like, can you make that? Can you make that? Can you make that? And there are these huge, gorgeous, beautiful bowls and vases. I was like, no, I cannot.
Famously, he makes great bowls.
He makes great bowls. Just the way that he embedded pop culture in his work, I thought was so interesting.
Are you a pop art fan? Like that era?
I'm not a pop art fan per se, but I am a modern art fan. And there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, there is a Venn diagram in there.
I wouldn't call myself a Lichtenstein or a Warhol fan, but there is a modern artist who overlapped with pop art a little bit called Ed Ruska that I love a lot.
If I could just add one thought, since we're talking art eras, it's very cliche, but I do love an impressionist. And then I also really love Edward Hopper.
You famously have a Hopper behind you.
Not an original.
No.
But I just love his kind of Americana melancholia is something I really, really enjoy from that pre kind of modern art, but still modern art.
Yeah, early modern art.
Big fan.
Anyways, this has been Modern Art and Pottery with Zoe and Zoe. We took a week off to celebrate my birthday.
Listen, guys, I don't know if you know this, but F1 and MotoGP race a lot.
They do.
I don't know if you caught on. It's a really hard pace.
A little bit of a much needed break for a week. And then so much happened in MotoGP this past week.
So much happened. What is going on in the House of Commons? Don't worry, we'll talk about it.
All right, what happened?
Oh, so we're talking about what's going on in the House of Commons? Got it. During our week off was the week preceding the Red Bull Ring, which is one of those tracks that F1 and MotoGP both race at. So it's really nice to see that familiar, huge metal bowl, lots of Red Bull iconography, the Austrian mountains, really familiar. Felt like coming home in a way. This weekend was the 1000th MotoGP race.
Wow.
Ain't that nuts?
Congrats, MotoGP.
I know. We've only been here for a fraction, but we're happy to be invited. The craziest thing about this weekend wasn't even the race itself. The craziest thing about this weekend is that this weekend was a real who's who of MotoGP elite, which is an insane sentence.
Everyone who we named in last episode
who isn't dead
to show up, who isn't dead, or Mick Doohan, who we also
or
forgot.
Jorge Lorenzo.
Or Jorge Lorenzo deigned to show up.
Jorge was not there. There is one thing about this that I think is funny. So I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because it was the 1000th MotoGP race. They decided to do a Legends parade. So you had, among others, Casey Stoner, Giacomo Agostini, Danny Pedrosa, Loris Capirossi, Simon Crafar, Andrea Dovizioso, a bunch of other people on site to do a Legends parade. I think it was on Sunday. Weird Dorna moment. They did not broadcast it. So I'm really hoping they release the footage in an unseen kind of video.
Release the tapes.
No, literally release the tapes. I need them. Valentino did not partake in the parade, but was very much there all weekend.
Yeah. Why?
Some people think it was because he is still a monster athlete. Like he is still contracted as a monster representative. And this is the Red Bull ring. I kind of think he was like, I don't want to do it. Which makes it even funnier than that Casey Stoner, the king of I don't want to fucking do that.
I don't want to be there.
Did that.
I don't want to do that. Yeah. Where was Mick?
Mick was at home probably, hanging out with his son. I don't know. Aggo is everywhere. Have you noticed this? Like he is always at races.
He is always there.
But yeah, they were all there. They all did a little parade minus Valentino. It was crazy. Just like everybody was wandering around. Casey Stoner, you could not watch 20 minutes of coverage without seeing Casey Stoner 2 or 3 times. He was in every single garage.
He was everywhere. He was Little Miss Popular this weekend.
The People's Princess.
Literally the People's Princess.
And it was funny because Danny Pedrosa was also getting a ton of coverage, which he does every time he shows up.
He's so handsome.
He's so beautiful with his gray streak of hair. Like, wow, I can't think about it for too long. One of the big journalists was tweeting about how Danny is getting more coverage than like the race itself. And I was like, as he should.
As he should.
What are you talking about? So I want to talk about Casey Stoner for a brief moment in time, who I love and adore. And I think is such an interesting character in like the history of MotoGP. Quick hits, rode for both Ducati and Honda. I think was the first Ducati World Championship winner. He's Australian. He is handsome and crazy tiny, as they all were in that era. And he later went on to Honda, won a world championship with them, and then ended up retiring very early for anyone in this sport, which everyone was very, very shocked by. He retired at the end of 2012. Do you remember what happened in 2013?
Marc Marquez.
Right. If Casey Stoner had not retired in 2012, and Marc Marquez had not come into MotoGP in 2013, we might not have got baby champ Marc Marquez, rookie world champion.
That's crazy.
Casey Stoner is famous for 2 things, I think. One of which is wholesome and one of which is fucking incredible. He ended up retiring for a lot of different reasons, but by and large, it's because of health issues. He'd suffered with chronic fatigue for a very long time, wasn't diagnosed, had no idea what to call it, how to deal with it, and had a very, very, very debilitating experience with anxiety. So he would be throwing up before every single race. He would just dread going out on track. Had like a very unhealthy relationship with the sport for quite a long time before he was like, I can't do this anymore. And he was like, I'm outie. What Casey Stoner is famous mostly to me for is in 2011, Valentino Rossi crashed into Casey Stoner, I think somewhere in Spain, crashing him out of the race. Valentino comes into the Honda box, helmet on, which is a sticking point for MotoGP apologies, to apologize. And Casey Stoner says what is, I think, one of the most famous retorts in MotoGP to this day. He says to Valentino Rossi's face, "Your ambition outweighs your talent."
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
And I give you that context because I'd like to read you some of the quotes from Casey in this one last weekend.
Please.
Hard work can beat talent until talent decides to work hard. He just says these things. He just rolls up to a little interview with a microphone and he just says these things.
Drops bombs.
Right. He said, Marc Marquez, and Danny Pedrosa, if he were racing right now, and you can see it when he wildcards, the old guard, the older riders, still know what it's like to find grip and ride ahead of the electronics, where the current generation of riders today only knows how to let the engineers set it up.
Wow. He said, fuck them kids.
Casey's famous too for he hates where MotoGP and F1 is going towards electronics and away from like the rider making the difference. He said, we're turning engineers into world champions, not riders.
Wow.
And then he spent, I think on Thursday, Matt Oxley was tweeting about it. I mean, everybody was tweeting about it. But on Thursday, Casey Stoner was just like sitting in the media center, not an athlete, just a guy wandering in, and spent close to like 20 minutes going through the entire MotoGP 2027 rulebook and tearing it to shreds.
I love him.
Just was hanging, doing his thing.
I need him and Max Verstappen to
In a
get
room
together
together?
and talk about how much they hate their prospective regulation changes. And I
Yeah.
want to watch it. I want to watch it
Right.
live.
Can we like Patreon that shit?
Yeah, throw Seb in there to moderate because I feel like he has a lot of opinions too.
Sebastian Vettel said something recently, I think in the last week or so, about how he's really against the new regulations for F1.
Of course he is.
Anyways, that's the end of the Casey Stoner Power Hour, who I love with my whole heart. Like, how can you not adore him? Okay, so moving on to the actual race and the people who raced in it. So this is Mark's, I think, 6th double in a row.
Correct.
Of winning the sprint and the GP.
Out of 222 possible points over the last 6 GPs, he has earned 222.
He is that guy.
Oh, shit.
He's him. So now, if we're looking at every track on this year's calendar, the 2025 calendar, he has won at every single track on the calendar except for 3. Portimao and Mandalika, and then Balaton, which is new this year. This is Mark's first ever win at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And it is super, super full circle, I think, that he did this on a Ducati because over the course of his MotoGP career, Ducatis have been the people keeping him from ever winning this race.
Also, very funny to me that the first time he wins at Red Bull Ring is in his first year, not as a Red Bull athlete.
Yeah, like maybe that's the jinx. Have we considered that?
Have we considered that?
I would like to present it.
I've connected the dots.
Andrea Iannone won in 2016. Dovizioso won in 17, 19, and 20. Jorge Lorenzo was in 18. Brad Binder was in 21. And then Pecco has won it from 2022 to 24. Everyone on that list was riding a Ducati except for Brad Binder. So Mark came into this weekend on record. The red bike is the bike that's kept me from winning this. I'm on the red bike. There are no excuses.
Ooh.
Which is cold. Very cold.
Cold.
He then proceeded to qualify in P4.
But does that matter? But does it matter?
Right.
But does it matter?
And no.
It doesn't. Like, I would have been like, okay.
No, I was watching Q2 and I was like, okay, he's okay. That's the win. He's fine. He picked the bike up, got back on track, took it home, qualified P4. Not what we want. It's what we will accept. Can you tell I haven't spoken much today?
Zoe's voice cracked so bad.
Yeah. So it was like one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, despair. And then you're like, it's Marc Marquez in P4. It's fine.
I felt no despair whatsoever.
Okay, well, fuck me then, I guess.
It was going to be fine. It was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. I wanted to chat like pretty briefly about Mark and winning because we all found out this weekend. Matt Oxley asked Mark, so what was your salary at Gresini? Which is like an unhinged question.
So impolite in our upbringing to ask what somebody makes.
But listen, salary transparency is all the rage. So you know what, Matt Oxley, thank you for finally joining in. Apparently, Mark left a $25 million contract, or euro, not totally sure on that one, to go ride with Gresini for a year in which he did not take a salary.
That is fucking insane.
And then Oxley goes, oh, but you mean, did you also get race win bonuses? Or like podium bonuses, which is a very standard pay structure in MotoGP. And he goes, no, the only money I got, and if I did get a podium bonus, all of that came from my sponsors.
Oh my God. La Roche-Posay.
No, La Roche-Posay was spending. Estela Galicia was cashing the fuck out.
Why would you do that labor for free?
Because he wanted it. That's what's so unlike, I think, so many other athletes, or that's what you see in these athletes that do it, that drive is to the outside person. What the fuck are you doing? It's crazy. And then you think about, too, he's been very clear on record about how Gresini was the only team that gave him time to really think about it and really consider his options. So, like, I have to wonder, knowing now that, like, they did not pay him, is that something that was coming up in the negotiations? I wish I could go back in time and be a fly on the wall for those negotiations because I can't imagine what it must have been like for the team in Gresini. Like figuring that out.
I would have been like, okay, sure.
If you say so, dude.
whatever. I mean, we were going to offer you like 10 mil, but if you want 0, okay, we'll do 0. That's crazy.
It's like if Lewis Hamilton, off the back of a couple of years like bad, was like, let me go to us for free so I can get in a Ferrari if a Ferrari was good. Like, that's what that is.
Let me go do an unpaid internship at VCarb so I can take the Red Bull seat. He did a Daniel Ricciardo.
No, he did. He did.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So like that just like blew my mind. Thank you to journalists asking weirdly professionally invasive questions. It gives me joy. Ducati has one of the most notorious predatory payment structures. They pay their athletes the least, but they pay an insane amount of money for like podium and win bonuses.
Well, I don't think that Marc Marquez has to worry about that.
No, it's so like, again, thinking about that negotiation, Mark being like, yeah, I'm fine with your like shitty base salary pay. I'm going to bankrupt the fuck out of you guys.
He's going to pull a Kimi Räikkönen.
Hell yeah.
And Kimi Räikkönen bankrupt Lotus.
As was his right, I think.
I couldn't agree more.
Kimi Räikkönen should be able to do whatever he wants. And the great thing about Kimi Räikkönen is that he also thinks that.
He also thinks that, indeed.
So we need to talk about the epic highs and lows of Aprilia this weekend.
This was wild.
What about it like really struck you?
What about it really struck me? There were 2 teams that the commentators were really like crashing out over. And it was Aprilia and Yamaha. They were like, this is the darkest weekend. This is the darkest weekend for multiple people. They were like, this is the darkest weekend for Pecco Bagnaia. This is the darkest weekend for Aprilia. This is the darkest weekend for Yamaha. Okay.
A lot of that did bear out, I will say.
It did. One beef I do have with the British commentators, and it's been getting on my nerves, is that they do not know a soft J if it punched them in the face.
Go on.
The number of times they said Joan Mir.
Joan. They like to say Joan and Joan. What's really funny is they nail it with Jorge,
but then they
can't
fuck
do
it
a
up on the
soft G.
Right. What is up? One, be consistent. Call him Jorge.
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 If they're going with the hard letter every time, it's Jorge.
It's Jorge. But they're like, Joan Mir. Joan Zarco won 8 hours of Suzuka. Johan.
No, it is really funny because I think Jorge Martin and Jorge Martin, you know, when like Star Trek does those like mirror universe things.
It's the Waluigi.
Yeah.
It's the Waluigi.
Oh no.
Ugh.
Yeah, Yamaha's weekend was, they could have just not shown up, essentially. Like, they really just could have not shown up, and that would have been crazy. This was also kind of an embarrassing weekend for Yamaha managerially, because they said they would have their team structure for 2026 figured out over summer break. And then they came back and journalists were asking their riders, like, hey, what's up with your contract? And they were like, I don't know, ma'am. They told us they needed 3 more races.
3?
And then this is one of the races.
Oh my God. They have a secret plan to fight inflation.
First of all, deep cut. Incredible reference. Second of all, I do think they have a secret plan to get rid of Alex Rins. That is my conspiracy theory. I really think that's what's happening. Anyways, the epic highs and lows of Aprilia. We started off really low is the thing. I will say that. We started off really low. Jorge Martin not doing his thing. I think that's fine. He's still very injured. It's okay. But the whole weekend, he was just getting like a little bit bodied and he was a little bit careful the whole time. He like went wide a lot to avoid people coming up to him. Like he was not the aggressive guy that like he has always been, which is fine because he is injured. And he needs to build that confidence. Bez started out so bad. He had a really bad Friday. Real bad. And then somehow made it out of Q1 on Saturday morning. Made it out of Q2. And here's where the highs come in. He secured pole for the whole weekend, which no one saw coming.
No
one saw coming. This is why it's the epic highs and lows of Aprilia. If there's one thing you can say about the Aprilia bike over the last 4 or 5 years, it is consistently inconsistent. Aprilia works really, really well at some tracks, and it works kind of dog shit at a lot of tracks. And the remaining like 4, it's mediocre. Red Bull Ring has always been a dog shit track for them. They have never done well here. You can look at the last, 2 months where Marco Bezzecchi is really the only one who is, other than Alex Marquez, on Mark's pace. So there is movement. We are seeing the Aprilia grow and grow and grow. We've talked about this before.
Especially compared to the beginning of the season where he was finishing eighth.
Right. Especially compared to the beginning of this season and all of last season. A lot has changed over there, and I think it's very exciting. And I think it is so to Marco Bezzecchi's credit that most people were really expecting him to fail as a factory rider. There's a lot of pressure there. And I think it's so great for him that best season he's had in the last couple of years is right now. So he ends up on pole. No one's expecting it. Very exciting. Mark is all the way at the back of P4.
Okay.
Everyone's like, wow, can Mark do this? Babe, what are we talking about?
Oh my God, he's so far down in the second row.
Second row. Beginning of the second row.
Literally directly behind Bez.
Marco Bezzecchi. Yeah.
Probably actually one of the better places for him to be.
Right. To Marco's credit, he in the GP, 28 laps, because I think Red Bull Ring is a shorter track.
It was 28.
He led 18 of them.
He had a really great start to the race. He was out there.
Yeah, and he kept his pace, which is something that I've been noticing with Bez. I think Pecco does this a lot too. Alex Marquez does this, which it's oh, wow, you go really fast and your tires get chewed up and then you can't go fast anymore. Crazy. Obviously, that happens to a lot of people. But it was really great to see Bez seeming to manage his tires a lot more to keep that lead as long as he did.
And build on the lead.
Right. And I think he was so proactive the whole time. This is one of those moments, we've talked about it before, where getting beaten by Marc Marquez is not a loss. In fact, being able to fight with him or make that as much of a fight as you did, that's the win.
100%. We have talked about this a lot over this season, is that at some point it's how can I race smart, not hard? And that was, I think, very much the case with Bez this weekend.
I really think this is one of his best races. I think he was so smart.
I agree.
The whole time.
It was great.
I think he was proactive. I think he planned everything right. It didn't work out how he wanted it to on Sunday or Saturday. But I think this is one of the best weekends he's had in a really long time holistically. Just even seeing that growth. Funny enough to mention our king, Casey Stoner. Casey Stoner was in the Aprilia garage Friday night giving Bez advice. And Bez was Vale was there. Vale, who runs a team that is competing with the Aprilia team. Valentino was in the Aprilia garage giving Bez advice. Bez was Valentino and I have this relationship and, I lean so much on him and I rely so much on him and it's something I value a lot. And he was and then Casey showed up and he was Casey Stoner came to give me tips.
Oh.
It was so cute. And he was Casey's advice was really, really helpful. I really appreciated it.
Bez. What a cutie pie.
And Casey's been on the record. He's had an eye on Bez for a while. But I think it was a good weekend for Bez. He ultimately ended up finishing Sunday P3. He says he had an issue that meant he dropped behind Mark for a while on Sunday and then couldn't make up the difference. He has yet to clarify what that issue was. So put a pin in that.
All right.
We need to talk about Pecco.
This was depressing. Even for Pecco, this was depressing.
Which is a crazy sentence.
It is a crazy sentence.
I don't know. I just feel like he's the universe's favorite whipping boy.
Yeah.
So much happens to him.
What has he done on a cosmic, karmic level?
It's just happening.
What is up with him? First of all, he comes to the week and he's I watched races where I won over summer break to remind myself what I used to be able to do.
I was going to say that. You're reading my mind. This is what I mean. Part of it's him. I do feel karmically he kind of invites this on himself. He is just the perfect example of the sad kid in a Dickensian novel. Please, sir. And then he immediately dies the matchstick girl because she freezes to death. Why is he like this?
You get the energy that you put out into the world.
And he gives matchstick girl energy. I don't want to be victim blaming, but he genuinely, it feels like he just attracts it to himself.
Have you tried journaling?
Have we tried some SSRIs?
Have we tried Prozac?
Just a thought.
Lexapro?
I feel like Valentino could get you some like on the down low.
I don't even know if he needs to do that. Just walk into any doctor's office and they're gonna be like, oh, Jesus Christ, just take them. Jesus fucking Christ. This is
Please.
atrocious. I'm being assaulted by your energy.
No one has dealt with this before. And Pecco's like, I go swimming in the rain.
This sad Eeyore picture.
And he's like, I got a really hot wife. And everyone's like, yeah, your wife is amazing and beautiful. That doesn't actually fix things.
He's so sad. He's so sad.
He straight up was like watching these races from like, I think he said like 21 through like 23. He was like, it felt like a different person. I had to like really remind myself that I can do that. And everyone was like, holy shit.
You're putting him in grippy socks as we speak.
And not the ones you need for Pilates.
No. Oh, and then on his ass, it still says go free. Go get a free sample of Prozac.
He do be saying hashtag go free.
Hashtag Pokemon go to the polls.
Hashtag stay in line.
For Prozac.
If you are in line right now, stay in line.
For your SSRI prescription. If you are in the Walgreens line, stay in line.
Stay in line. Oh my God. I think what's so sad about it, especially this weekend, is he had the reverse weekend of Marco Bezzecchi. He had a great beginning, like a great front of the weekend. He qualified in P3 for the whole weekend. It's like, I think the first time in a long time for Pecco that he's qualified on the front row. So he was on like riding cloud 9 for him, which is like
cloud 5,
like cloud 1 maybe. There was a smile that happened at some point, I'm sure.
Cloud 3.
Yeah, 3. So then at the beginning of the sprint, he didn't even get off the line. He had a massive wheel spin that essentially sent him sideways. And the funniest thing about it is that Furman Aldeguer, who was right next to him, did the exact same thing. And Furman has a weird history of like mimicry. I don't know. He loves to crash immediately as other people crash. He loves to do the thing other people do immediately after they do it. It's funny. Just keep an eye on that. So he and Pecco essentially have the same crazy wheel spin. They both veer super far left at the beginning of the sprint. And then, I don't know, like 8 laps later, Pecco retires the bike. I don't know exactly what happened because on Sunday they were like, we're really focused on Sunday, so we don't know what happened, but we'll figure it out after Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, which Gigi, what? There's footage of him in the garage while Mark is on the way to win the sprint. And he's like mimicking the body language of being on the bike. And he's basically sitting there and he's like, it's going like this, which I think that even the layperson would think, I don't want to be on that bike either.
Yeah.
So I would retire the bike too. On Sunday, he had more of like a familiar Pecco in 2025 experience where he had pace at the beginning and then just could not keep up with P1 and P2, which was Mark and Marco. And then later on got gobbled up by Pedro Acosta and Furman Aldeguer.
And just kept going.
And then just kept falling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the story of his season this year. It's really weird. One of the things he said about watching like his old races, he's like, I don't feel like I can overtake anyone. And so that's what happens when you can't overtake people and you don't have the pace is you get overtaken. And I'm like, yeah, buddy.
He's so emo girl drawing eyeballs in the back of your class.
He's so like sweater paws. You know?
He's so sweater paws. He's so sweater paws. It's not even funny. Sweater paws, Cookie Monster pajamas, eyeball.
Yeah.
He is walking the mile.
No, I would say Pecco runs it. He may or may not pass out at the end, but he's running it.
He is anemic and he did pass out at the end.
There's a level of anxiety that I think expresses in Pecco as like a drive to win, even though he can't.
Yeah, he's like a racing greyhound.
Oh my God,
shaking.
He is. And they're so shaky.
They're so shaky.
Just trembling. The other thing I wanted to talk about from this weekend is Furman Aldeguer, who I did just mention. The thing about Furman Aldeguer is he's a very divisive figure in his rookie season.
How old is he? 20?
He's a child.
I'm looking. 20.
There you go.
April 5th 2005.
That's horrible information.
I know.
Ducati gave him his contract early. They snatched him up because he was having a crazy, crazy run of Moto2 at the time. This year in Moto2, post getting the contract, was real bad, really bad. It had pretty much everybody in the sport being like, what the fuck is Ducati getting out of this? Like, did they make a huge mistake in signing him? Because this is not the guy who was here 4 months ago.
Second semester senior.
Correct. So there are like two prevailing arguments, which is one, Ducati made a mistake. This guy ain't all that. I don't know. You know? The other one is he is 19 years old. He has, I think, just won a title. He is now on a different bike, I believe. And he is, for the first time, really experiencing like pressure post success.
Also, he's 19.
Right. I think that is a critical piece. Let us not forget what being 19 was like. I think we would all rather forget.
It was not good. I didn't enjoy it.
It was bad.
Do you know how many college courses I went to at 19? Not a lot.
I was 19 in Europe making the stupidest decisions I was ever making.
I love that for you, though.
And in that way, we're
so
all
was
Formenaldegar.
How very Formenaldegar of you.
Thank you. I was ahead of the curve. He was 12 at the time.
Oh my God. Jesus.
No, yeah, and that's mathematically accurate. And so on the other hand, you've got these people who are like, he's 19, he is experiencing a level of pressure he has never before experienced in his professional and personal life. Maybe we should let him be 19 and learn how to deal with this now before he comes to MotoGP. And as in all things, I personally think the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, 100%.
We talk a lot about recency bias. We talk a lot about like why narratives come into shape and take hold so quickly and then are very quickly disproven. And I think there's this kind of overriding one where we don't have the next Marc Marquez yet. And so people are constantly on the hunt for one. And then that turns into a guy like Pedro Acosta, a guy like Formenaldegar, where that pressure is so intense. When the gag of it is, there isn't another Marc Marquez. What I am bringing this conversation up for is towards the end of the GP on Sunday, kind of out of nowhere, Furman starts putting down lap times that are crazy fast.
He started putting his pussy into it.
He sure as hell did. He said, I am popping my motherfucking pussy around the Red Bull ring. Let's fucking go, girls. Now. Exactly. And it was so interesting because he ended up passing Marco Bezzecchi, who was dealing with his issue. I don't know what that was. And then kind of out of nowhere, people were like, he's going to win this race. He's going to win this race.
I mean, he wasn't.
And I was sitting there like,
he's not, but okay. I love the enthusiasm.
I don't think he is. Because I don't know if you're aware, but the guy who is,
winning the race
8, 9 tenths of a second in front of him with
up
6
the road
laps to go is in fact Marc Marquez, who has never let an overtake sit that he can't immediately turn into his own overtake. I don't know if he's going to win this race, actually.
No, but he could get second.
And he did. And he did. I think there's a lot of stuff that's like wrapped up in this one moment for me of like, Furman is having an incredible rookie season. He is not doing anything wrong. He's having an amazing rookie season. But he's a rookie and he's not Marc Marquez and he's fighting Marc Marquez. But there's like a prevailing, like growing wave of discontent with this season. And I feel like you could just tangibly feel it from commentary during the last like 4 laps. Is like, oh my God, Furman can do this. Like Furman's pace is crazy. Like Furman could do this. Furman could win this race. And it's like, I really feel like we're maybe overestimating some things here. He's having a perfect Sunday.
We're setting him up for expectations that are unachievable.
He's 20.
Yeah. He's 20.
But he did have a really good Sunday, I think.
Nobody wants a rookie anymore.
Nobody wants a rookie to work anymore. They want a rookie to come in and like immediately start winning.
Which doesn't happen. People forget that like the last rookies to like win were Marc Marquez and Lewis Hamilton. Like Max didn't even win until his second season. People forget that.
No, it's very, very rare. Anyways, so that's basically the big moments of which there are a lot. We do need to do super quick predictions for Hungary next weekend. Keep in mind, no one's raced there. Ducati did like a superbike test there a couple weeks ago. No one had really nice things to say about it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go first. Marc Marquez P1, Marco Bezzecchi P2,
Okay.
Johan Zarco P3,
Okay.
Fail King Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with a Marc Marquez P1, Pedro Acosta P2, Bezzecchi P3,
Okay.
and a Digi Antonio Fail King.
All right.
We shall see.
So very quickly, that brings us to the great wide world of motorsport. In the world of F1, we are still on break. We are getting into a little bit of silly season rumors regarding Cadillac.
The shit that has been floating around is nutso.
Okay. The rumor is that Christian Horner will be the team principal of Cadillac.
Wait, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen that? It says like it's a basically done deal.
Yeah, but didn't they say like 2 weeks ago that Checo Perez was a done deal and Cadillac was like, no, the fuck it isn't.
But here's my thing. Why I call bullshit on it is he would still have to take a year of gardening leave.
Yeah. Also, I thought he was still employed at Red Bull.
Valtteri is a lock for Cadillac. I think that's definitely going to happen.
They've been teasing it so much.
I know. It's not even funny. But those are kind of the catty rumors.
I wanted to touch on Max Verstappen's wet, hot yacht summer.
He is having the time of his life.
So we all know that Max and Toto Wolff, their yachts were at the same place earlier in the summer break. We all know this. And then some pictures came out, I think this week, where Max and Toto are just having like a kiki on Toto's yacht. And Susie is sitting inside, just like, hey, like laughing it up.
Or there's a photo of him, Susie, and Kelly, and they're all just having the best little giggle.
I want to be there for that so bad.
I want to be there so bad. It's not even funny.
The third crazy update to this is that George Russell recently bought a yacht. Don't know why the fuck he did that. George Russell, I think right now or over the weekend, was vacationing in the exact spot where Max and Toto's yachts were.
He wants to be there so bad.
Yeah. It's like George every now and then is so cringe that I'm like, I think it circles around to being kind of iconic.
I agree totally. Also, Max was photographed on a boogie board or a kickboard with Penelope on his back, and they're both wearing goggles, and it was very cute.
I love that.
I think that brings us to the grid as ...
It sure does.
As promised in last episode, we are going to do the grid as classic vines. For those who are uninitiated, the grid as ... is a moment in our podcast where we categorize a handful of riders or drivers from across the great wide world of motorsport as a person, place, thing, concept, idea. I'm sure we're going to have more than 2 each for this.
Yeah.
To start, George directly to Max is the one where the guy gets punched to the head and he's British and he goes, oh, fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
I love that one.
And then Max to George is the guy on the college dorm bed and he goes, let's tell each other a secret about ourselves. Mine is, I hate you.
That's so good.
So those are my two, and then we'll get into our bonuses after.
So you know that one where it's that guy sitting in bed with a piano with the other guy and he's singing Go Suck a Dick?
Yes.
Sucker huge or small one. That's Casey Stoner.
I could not agree more.
Thank you. And then you know that one that's like, I got my hat on backwards. It's summertime and I'm ready to fucking party. And then he immediately gets hit in the head by his garage door.
Notably, what was on my graduation cap in college.
That's Pecco.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. As a bonus, I had it as Ollie Behrman. I think it is accurate for Furman Aldeguer as well. Is what up? I'm Jarrett. I'm 19. I never fucking learned how to read.
Because they're children.
I also think that Lewis Hamilton is the one where the guy's like, we all die. You either kill yourself or get killed. And he goes, what you gonna do?
That's a good one. You know one, this is like the one I always think of when someone brings up Vine, is that like one kid doing like a backflip roundhouse into the sign inside Krispy Kreme.
Back at it again at the Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. That's Mark Marquez.
Yeah.
There's another classic. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance. But not for me. Fernando Alonso.
My Fernando Alonso was where the grandma is walking in front of the car and the person in the car honks the horn and the grandma throws the milk.
I love that one.
That was my selection for Fernando Alonso.
Okay, one more. You remember that video from Vine of like the bus doors are closed and this like older woman is like banging on it and like singing?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Valentino Rossi on his podcast.
It is.
That man loves a podcast.
He loves a podcast. The last one for me is Isaac Hajar, is the one where it's the Kermit the Frog puppet and he goes, "Shoddy, I don't mind."
That's so good. Oh God. Oh, this is my favorite one we've ever done.
I know. We could do this every week and never run out.
I think that's it. I think that's where we're gonna end it.
Yeah. There's so much more we could talk about that I am just now thinking of. Daniel Ricciardo broke his collarbone.
On a motorbike.
On a motorbike, Girl the Grid is torturing Lewis Hamilton.
Oh my God, that was rough.
But all of these things we may not or may talk about in future episodes. So stick around. Come hang out with us on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. We have a lot of fun. Or on our website at motomouths.com where we have merch.
I'm wearing mine today.
Oh, yay! Cute. I love mess.
Of our two favorite messy people.
And make sure to like, share, rate, review, comment, engage with any shape, form, or metric to help us grow the podcast. We really appreciate it. And that's it for us. Let's keep chatting soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.